everyone. Thank you for tuning in and here with another episode of the Media Buff Guys, the podcast about anything and everything media related. I'm your host, Lord,
You
producer,
ain't
and
Lord of
director,
shit.
Lord, producing.
and
Lord,
editor.
that's so funny.
I will edit you out, man.
You can try, but I come back like herpes.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord,
And
no.
with me is Lord Deviate because he constantly loves to deviate into Game of Thrones, even though that's not what we're talking about right now.
It's part of the whole entire saga. If you
And of course our keeper of knowledge, Lady Hyperfocus Lane, who is just like the cartographer or the keeper of everything House of the Dragon related right now.
The keeper of secrets.
There you
But
go.
it's me.
And then my lovely wife Jen, who is now dubbed Lady Anxiety because the last episode gave her a lot of it.
What do you have gotten some anxiety? Come on.
I got a little bit, but yeah, she was like, "Oh my God."
Oh man,
I don't blame her. I don't
was
blame I don't blame
screaming.
anybody who's got some anxiety right now. I can
This is
understand why these
why
shows.
like I don't like watching episode by episode because it's like I gotta know what's happening next.
Oh, tell me, Maria. Tell me now.
Tell me, Maria, I've got to
tell you
know.
what happens next.
So as before, we're talking again like about dragons, more specifically House of Dragons season 2. We're gonna be talking about and dissecting episode 4. Funny tidbit, I tried to do a quick synopsis so we can like do that real quick and then talk about certain aspects of the episode. Couldn't do it, which Lane
Fair,
was
it's
not
impossible.
surprised. It's just like it
It's
can't be done.
impossible.
Just like this is how it is. This is how it is from here on out.
This show just has so many layers in every scene.
Exactly.
And like,
Even scenes you don't think are gonna be significant are significant. Like somebody moved a cup and knocked it over the table. That means something.
yeah, it does. It's all connected.
It's all
like
connected.
the most intense, intricate storytelling.
Exactly.
And
Now,
everything hints at everything.
exactly. Now, before we continue, this is your first official and only spoiler warning. Again, we're going to be talking heavily about the episode. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on HBO Max. It's on every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're in the East Coast, you're good at 9. Here in the West, we get to see it at 6. And of course, as always, before we begin the episode, a quick word from our affiliate Maono. If you're looking for anything podcast related or any kind of audio interfaces, you can check out their website. If you use our code MediaBuff, you get 10% off your first purchase. We use their equipment all the time. As of right now, we're not because we're still recording via Zoom, but we'll definitely start going back using their items whenever we get the chance. Either way, moving on. So the episode that we're talking about is episode 4, House of Dragons, which was named the Red Dragon and the Gold Dragon. Am I right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Red Dragon and the Gold. That's the name of the episode. So Matt, you wanted to take point on that, so why don't you start us off with
Okay,
the beginning of the
so
episode?
in the very beginning of the episode, Damien is having another fever dream, pretty much. And he sees Aedmund, like he's following Aedmund through the castle, and he runs into the witch. But I
Well,
think the reason
technically,
why,
the first scene is him beheading young
yeah,
Rhaenyra.
beheading Rhaenyra, that's where I kind of left off,
Young
or
Rhaenyra.
left out, young Rhaenyra. But I think the reason why he's having these dreams or these visions is because it's the mistakes that he's realizing that he's made along the way. And that's why he sees, like in the previous episode with the young Rhaenyra, like sewing the the young prince's head back on. She tells him, "I'm always having to clean up your messes." Like that, those are like, that was a kind of like a huge mistake he made, like giving that order.
Are you sure somebody just didn't roofie him?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, the witch could have. She handled him that drink. She's like, "Oh, you need to sleep," and then like he wakes up in the middle of a meeting, tripping balls.
Has no idea how he got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, wait,
Oh,
who are
she's
you? He's like, I'm Lord Blackwood. You summoned me.
he's all no, it's Oscar Tully of the House Tully, and they're in
Yeah,
charge of the Riverlands. So
yeah.
That was the
He's
first meeting. That
yeah,
was the first meeting. But when he tells him, oh, like you just kill your grandsire, and like let's move this process along and get me an
exactly.
army,
Yeah.
right? But after that, after that, that's when he wakes up, and then he's talking to like everyone's talking to him. He's like, wait, where am I? What's going on?
Mhm.
These drugs are good.
Yeah, but like he, if you notice,
you
like
actually skipped
after,
like you actually skipped a
yeah,
bunch right now, Matt.
you skipped
You're
like
like
half the
you're like half
episode.
of this episode. That doesn't take place until about half of it. So basically, the start of the episode,
Wait,
it is his fever dream.
right?
Yes.
And then he wakes up and he talks to Oscar Tully, who's the sire of Lord Governor Tully, who's the current
Yes.
heir of Aaronhold, and he's on his deathbed, and he pretty much suggests, like, why don't you euthanize him with a pillow over his face?
Well, my time is short and I have need of an army. Perhaps you might place a feather pillow over his head and speed along your inheritance.
Yeah.
Tully declines because I mean it's his adopted father, and so he basically says, "Bring me the Blackwoods instead." Is it the Blackwoods, Lane?
The
Yes.
Blackwoods. Yes, it's the
Yeah.
Blackwoods.
Yeah, because they need an
Ye-
army. And then
Yeah.
after that, you go back to Dragonstone where we see Rhaenyra or Rhaenys actually talking
Rhaenys,
talking to a gentleman by the name of Alan Hall.
That's
who
just
is
Mark.
the bastard child
It's
of
heavily hinted that it
Mhm.
might be a
Corliss.
legitimate, yeah, Corliss, a legitimate child,
Totally is.
which I mean it is, but and when she brings it up, it's funny because she like looks at the guy, it's like, oh, I bet your mother was very pretty.
Your mother must have been very beautiful.
And then
She
enter
better be
Corliss.
drop dead gorgeous.
And then she brings it up to Corliss, and Corliss like, "Why are you hassling him about this?" Which turns into an interesting rebuttal because she basically says, If he's your son, why don't you just acknowledge him because he could probably make a good heir."
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you don't
So
have one
she's
anymore.
she's not
Mhm.
happy about the fact that he cheated, but like, hey, guess what? You have an heir right there, so maybe acknowledge him.
Use him.
And
Yeah.
And
also
after
on
all, he
top of
did
that,
save your life. He did
this
save
is
your
why
life.
this is why she's still like one of the most awesome people is that she doesn't blame him for being born like
No,
how
he doesn't.
like other mothers have.
True.
Yeah,
Freaking Caitlyn,
Mm,
exactly. And
bastard hating bitch.
yeah, from there you go back to King's Landing where we find, the human garbage person Allison taking what might be like her 10th Plan B tea from Grandmaster Orwell, who she
Yup.
tries to who she tries to play off as
you
like, "Oh,
cut
it's not
out
for
again.
me.
Yeah, it's for,
It's for another girl."
Aegon's
Yeah.
just fucking up again, drinks all over the place,
I
like
just like the fact that
gosh.
he tells her it's like, "Hey, like
Uh-oh.
this tea's kind of bad for the gut, so maybe like tell
Mhm.
me if some complications arise." It's like, "Oh yeah, I'll keep an eye on the girl."
Yum. That's so funny. Just
And I
making
just and I just like the
making it
fact that
fun.
before he leaves, she asks him like, "Hey, so do you think Aegon too should have been crowned the king?" And he goes like, "I don't know, man. I don't know. Why are you asking me?"
Yep.
Oh, so
Because I
Let's
don't think
see
it
here.
really mattered. Because in the long run, it really wouldn't have mattered because they were gonna put him on there anyways.
And if it
mhm,
wouldn't have
The
been
whole
him, it would have been
council.
one of the other kids, and it
mhm.
probably been just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then of course we head back to Dragonstone where Rhaenyra is squabbling with the council over Cole's army that's growing as they've taken
But it's Rhaenys and it starts with like
Baylor.
Bela.
Bela.
Baylor.
Jacaerys and Bela are like bickering, and then
Mhm.
all the older guys are.
Exactly, about the army that's growing, and Sir Alfred Warm is the one who's like kind of getting a little
Nasty.
brazen.
Impatient.
Yeah. And here comes Rhaenys to kind of shut him down, but it takes Corlys to put him in his place because I think he's the hand right now, right, Lane?
Yeah, so
Mhm.
he was appointed the hand, and then so he got hurt, and then so she kind of was kind of started acting in as the hand a little bit more of
Mhm.
like the main advisor for Rhaenyra because Corlys couldn't. But
Exactly.
I mean, in the book, Rhaenyra actually makes the both of them like
The
the
hand.
hand.
hand essentially, so they both are in charge of making all the big decisions.
Well, Rhaenys
Um,
is kind of still like doing those duties, even though she's not
yeah,
officially in the show, but she's
yeah,
doing the best that and she even says, I'm doing the best I can to keep, you guys from basically falling apart. And
mhm,
they're just saying like, hey man, like why hasn't Damon uh responded to the ravens we sent in Harrenhal? And where the hell is Rhaenyra? Where, is Jacaerys, right? Jacaerys?
what do you mean? Yeah,
Jacaerys is the one he's like, dude, like just wait on her
gotta
and
send. Yeah, he's like we have to send like dragons and
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, to just hang on for a little bit. But they're basically at their wits end because of Cole's army at the moment.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody knows where Rhaenyra is. The one was like,
Exactly.
okay, no one's seen her, no one's heard from her. She hasn't sent a raven. They're just like she just up and disappeared.
Exactly.
With she's out there with what's his name?
I forget his name, but
The
he's
Meister.
the
From Rook's,
Meister.
was it Rook's Rest or
Yeah,
forget
it
from where
was
it is?
no, it was like Darkland.
Is it
Or
Darkling?
Is that the weak castle they were trying to
no,
take?
Duskendale. Sorry,
There you go.
Darkland's
Well, they
another
took
house.
yeah,
It's Duskendale.
they took that castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Duskendale is um he's
Mm-hmm.
the the guy who's the lord of that castle.
Mm-hmm.
His son is on
And the council.
the council with Rhaenyra, and
Hmm.
he's with her,
Yeah, he's
sneaking
the one that
around
left on the
King's.
mission with her.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then
so
that's when he finds out that his
when
dad.
they come back,
Yeah,
yeah.
so the fallen
Mm-hmm.
scene is actually that, and they pan down onto the Darkland, the Duskendale ruled by House Darkland, and Cole is
Mm-hmm.
basically telling them, "Hey, you can either bend the knee or die at the sword."
Yes.
And
He doesn't basically, he does tell them that.
and
Like, he
they
says,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and they bring over Lord Gunther Darkland, who's the father of I forget the guy's name, the one that's with Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name too.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
basically he's basically even though he knows his death is coming, and this is pretty badass. He knows his death
Yes.
is coming. It's like you're gonna get yours, dude. Like, don't you worry. I might die
Mm-hmm.
right now, but you're gonna get yours. Just you wait. And then Cole,
He calls him a
Beheads him.
kingmaker.
yeah, Kingmaker, and he chops off
Mhm.
his head for it. But hey, I gotta give that guy props. He didn't even blink at the fact that he was about to die. No fear in
No.
his eyes,
No.
just
He stood up
spitting
to him.
just spitting smack at Cole, saying like, "You don't worry about me, man. You're
Yeah.
gonna get yours soon enough." Anyone?
Yeah.
well,
He.
for especially for men and like him, a man of power,
Hmm.
and he pledged his fidelity to Rhaenyra,
Mm-hmm.
and it's either a betray everything you believe in and your honor, or you die with your honor. And so for him, he made the right choice. That's just like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck you, Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
You're not gonna make me a you're not gonna make me a lackey.
Yeah, my hat's off to
No.
him. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know it sucks to lose your father, but at the same time, he went out like a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forget
Because
what
he
happens
held
from
him.
here. I think Gwen, he tells Gwen something. I forget Lane, what does he say from here?
Oh,
Cole.
like he pretty much tells him like we're changing course and we're gonna go up the coast. Um,
Oh yeah,
and Gwen's
northeast,
like,
northeast.
yeah,
And
he's gonna go northeast up the coast, and then Gwen's like, yeah, I know you're not really around here,
But
but
Harrenhal's to the
Harrenhal is
west.
in the other direction, pretty much
Yeah.
insulting him from
yeah,
not being
for
from like
not being a highborn.
nobility. He's just like a foot soldier from
Mm-hmm.
a land down south,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
past King's Landing and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah, so it's just like a huge insult, and it's just like so
Yeah.
funny because Cole is just trying to like prove himself. Like,
But I will say this, Cole's rebuttal to that, he goes like, "Oh yeah, I don't care. Let's go."
Yeah, he's like, indeed it is. He's like, we're moving.
Yeah, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not where we're going. Yeah.
yep. And then we make it to the
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 small
Green
council.
Council, the
Hmm.
Green Small Council at King's Landing, and
which
Aemon's
was a great scene.
pretty pissed that they aren't going. They changed their plans and they're not going to Harrenhal. And he
Hmm.
thinks like he's convinced that like he has to take Harrenhal because it's such a big castle, and so he's all mad and
Yeah, but
he's just like,
Lord Larry's kind of like tells him like, dude, don't worry
yeah,
about Harrenhal. The place is cursed, and they don't have any
yeah.
money.
But at the same time, it's still a big important
Hmm.
part of the map to take,
Yes.
and so he's just
Strategy.
super. Yeah, he's just like throwing a fit that they change
Mhm.
plans, like
Mhm.
not just they, but like his brother
Yes.
Eamon change plans with Cole. And then, he's throwing a little fit, and then that is when Eamon starts talking to him in like high Valerian and like pretty much just like pretty much
He,
talking shit and said,
he
oh, well, you were busy trying, drinking and, trying to think of a cool nickname for yourself, and then appointing all your, little posse, your
Yeah.
lick
Your little
spittles
buddies.
to your King's Guard.
Mhm.
We were like doing shit. Like, what are you gonna, do you want to
Mhm.
explain to them all this? And and
Mhm.
you can tell like they kind of know what he's talking about, but they don't exactly know. They just kind of know, like they can tell like
it was an
when,
embarrassment.
yeah, an embarrassment, and like he's obviously like insulting him,
Mhm.
and this is just like, obviously Aemon's way of like paying him back from the previous episode where he embarrassed him with his mommy number two.
Hmm
I,
But
Mhm.
I I
I
think that's his
also,
mommy number one for him.
but I also
Yeah,
like
honestly,
how
yeah.
like Eamon did it. Like, not only was he speaking in High Valerian, but it was also to prove that he's like, because eh, uh, like Aragon did not pay attention to that much to the High Valerian as much as Aemon did. And so that's why his sentence at the end of the conversation was a little bit broken up. And that's why Aiden just smiled at him, like, you see my point? You just made my point for me. So he embarrassed him in a few different ways there. And it just,
Mhm.
and like you could see the king's heart just like breaking because it's his own brother doing it to him. And his brother's like, well, you kind of fucked
Mhm.
me over. So this is my revenge.
Plus,
Yeah.
on top of that, the point Eamon makes is valid because he's saying we're taking the coastline near Dragonstone, which means Rhaenyra's ship will have to travel very far out of the way to get to Westeros, because they have to go all the way around past those steps, I guess, the ones they were protecting constantly, to
Hmm
get
They're
to
cutting off
Westeros.
land.
Yeah, they're cutting off the land so they can't march through
Mhm.
that area.
And
It's
they're gonna be directly across the water from
Mhm.
Dragonstone if they take Rook's Rest, which is the end goal of where they're going.
Mhm.
it
And
doesn't.
that person is also on Rhaenyra's like
Council.
small council.
Hmm.
So it's not only like a big like fu again,
Mhm.
but it's just like, oh, now we're right across the water, like we can wave to each other, so it's just a more of a threatening position also, in a way. And obviously Aemond and Cole have a bigger plan brewing than just taking
Yeah,
this
they're
little
they're they're
stupid little
scheming.
castle. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's a
Hmm.
bigger picture here too.
They're
um
scheming behind his back, and he was not happy about that.
yeah,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
the
and
reason, why they decided to take it, we'll get to there later on, like,
Eventually.
yeah,
exactly.
we'll get to there to the later in the end of this episode, but
The part that comes
um
from there, where Larys visits Allison, is actually pretty funny, and at the same time, like also like he clearly got some more MO on her,
mhm.
because he walks in and tells her like, "Hey, why weren't you at the council?" And she's like, "Oh, I haven't been feeling well," holding a hot stone at her stomach because I don't know if she had cramps or she's trying to boil whatever baby might be in there.
No,
No, well,
like
because
it's
he
the
said he was gonna get
medicine.
sick. Yeah, the medicine would make her nauseous.
Ah,
And
okay.
like make her feel shitty. So I think she's just trying to. Plus,
Yeah,
yeah, So
Alleviate that.
exactly. And Larys sees
Mhm.
the cup of the moon tea, which she didn't put away.
She didn't even put the lid back on it to make it seem like, oh, I'm gonna take this to someone in a second. Like she just left the
And
lid on.
another bastard child of my son, you know?
And
Like
exactly.
she could play that off like she did with the monastery, but when he walked in, it was like,
Laris immediately saw it as like, look at you
Mhm.
indulging in some outside pleasures.
but he
And
already
then, and
knew.
then, yeah, and then he asks about like, so how do you feel about Cole? Christian Cole right now. And she's just like, well, we should all be worried about him, Like, aren't you worried? She's like, we should all be, right? Like trying to play it off, like it's,
Mhm.
and then of course he sees like all the textbooks, history books, and he's like, oh, Allison, you reading some history? Didn't know that
Right?
was your thing. Like, didn't know,
He's
that was
quite
your
the
whole
historian.
yeah,
Like it says.
exactly. He is just pointing out everything,
Mhm.
and
And
then
that's one thing that you kind of gotta give props to Laris. Like, even though he's a wormy scumbag, he's a good wormy scumbag.
Yeah, that's why I like him a little better than the actual Littlefinger. I mean, yeah, he's the Littlefinger of House of Dragons, but he's so much more intelligent.
Well, he's the first one. He's the OG Littlefinger because this predates him.
Well,
Well, technically, that would be Otto Hightower because Otto
mhm.
is older than him, but
I feel like
even
Laris is better at this though.
it is. He is. He clearly is. Like that's part of the reason why I hate Otto so much is because he's like, oh, I'm a schemer. Look at me. He's a fucking
Mhm.
idiot, 10 steps behind everyone.
But they just
True.
but to be honest, they just make it way too easy for Laris to have tea on them,
They really do. Do they leave stuff
Yeah.
out in the open?
They
Like,
are not subtle
Yeah.
about what they're doing at all.
you
Like,
know
Well,
who this guy is and
yeah.
what he's capable of.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, and then Allison meant, he's like, well, how come you haven't been at the small council meetings? And Allison's just like, nah, I haven't really felt like it. So the whole thing is Allison still thinks that Laris is,
An idiot.
no, that Laris is like loyal to her.
Oh,
How
right.
yeah. So she still thinks that Laris is loyal to her, not realizing that he's now sitting on the council
Then
as an
playing
actual
her.
whispers because she hasn't been at the small council. She just hasn't
Exactly.
been going. And he's like, why haven't you been going? Like, heard you haven't been there, whatever. So she doesn't even know that he's going back and forth between her and Aegon, like
Making
siphoning
it
all this
so much
information.
easier for him.
Exactly.
They're just so oblivious to so many things, and that's
And then
why like they're doing such a terrible job. It's because they shouldn't be in charge. Like none of them really know what they're doing, but they all think they do know what they're doing.
I don't know. I kind of like
So stupid.
Grandmaster Orville. He seemed a little just like
No,
from
I'm
some of
talking
the
about
scenes.
like Allison and
Aegon.
Aegon.
Oh
And,
yeah, no,
yeah,
they're
like they
idiots.
all just think like they're so smart and they know what they're doing. And Allison thinks she knows what she's doing, but it's like they're also
And
dumb,
and
and they're just getting played by
just
Laris over
just
here, and
just fueling into how she's being played. She asked him like, "Hey, so what do you think of Cole being the key?" And I'm like, "Why?" I mean Aegon being the key. And I'm like, "Why? Why are you bringing him into this?"
yeah, so dumb. She is just messing up hardcore, and
I mean, he doesn't care though, because like, dude, at this point,
no,
it doesn't matter.
no, he's just like, yeah, keep unraveling. I'm gonna just soaking all this up like a sponge because I'm
Yeah,
using all of
exactly.
this
Because I'm
to
gonna
my
need this later.
advantage.
Yeah. And then from
Yeah,
here, Matt, now we go back to Hair and Hell where crazy witch lady is tormenting him.
Right. Well, he's not
Alice
she's not.
Rivers.
Alice Rivers, yeah.
Yeah, she's not tormenting Damon. She's just being very observant of him and like finally made her formal introduction to him.
I like how she's messing with him the entire time. It's like, oh, maybe I'm casting a spell on you, or maybe these wayward trees are making you go insane, or maybe I'm just a barn owl in a human body.
Yeah.
She like tells him like about like how the trees and stuff were all killed off, and she said that this castle was cursed before the first stone was laid. And he goes, "It's all just a wives' tale." And she's
Yeah.
like, "But is it? The bed you're sleeping in."
And
Yeah,
Jen
exactly.
actually pointed out something pretty interesting as you see Aemon walking around the castle. What were we talking about? The animals, babe?
I don't know. Something tells me that those animals might be just her,
Like
because I mean, the black goat,
They
and all
are
that stuff. I
her.
think, yeah, I think they're just, she's
her
keeping a
shape
tabs
shifting.
on, yeah, on
Well,
Damon
no,
that
she
way.
can like. It's not that she shapeshifts into them. It's like she can see through like their eyes.
Yeah,
Like
Um,
how
Yeah, like the
like
three-eyed
spy, like they're
raven.
Bronco
having little
and
spies,
Like,
Bran, yeah,
that
she
nobody
can like
would,
see through them. That's why
like
they're
if
always like looking
nobody
at
would
him.
notice.
hmm
Like
that's
very
why
inconspicuous.
that's why if you read the books, Ed, it
But
would
that's why she
explain
says like, "Oh,
this.
I'm just a barn owl," because she is
Mhm.
probably seeing through eyes of a barn owl, like
Yeah.
for who knows how long, watching what's
Mhm.
been
Yeah,
going on
there's
besides them.
I think there's like a three-eyed raven, so to speak, for like every generation, and there's only one like for each generation.
Mhm.
And it's a lot better explained in Game of Thrones because of Bran's becomes the three-eyed raven. So
And
she's
there's a
gotta
deviation.
it's not a deviation, that's a comparison, you idiot.
No,
Anyways,
yeah, but then the whole dream that like Damon has, where he's like stomping the castle and he gets woken up because he's hearing like sounds of a battle, but there's not a battle, and he's following
mhm,
this figure, and then the figure turns around, and it's essentially him as
with the eye patch.
Esmond.
Damon. Yeah, so it's a pretty much saying, like throwing it out there that like these two characters are mirrors of each other.
Mhm.
They are like
Mhm.
one and the same person. Like they're both second sons. They both have been want to fight battles that like their older brothers can't handle or don't want to handle or are not
Mhm.
capable of handling. They want to be the king, but they just are obviously overlooked because they are the second sons. Like they have the fiercest dragons, like in terms of just like the ferocity.
Mhm.
Like Caraxes is so ferocious, and then Vagar is just old and giant and just ferocious over everyone else, and
Yeah.
has killed more dragons, than any of
Grand
the other
grand
dragons at this point. So
grandmama Vagar.
yeah, Grandma Vagar. So they are. It's pretty much telling us, the watchers, that like these two characters are the same, and then something's going to happen with them. Like they are going to come together, and their stories are going to intertwine because it's inevitable.
But
And then
Yeah.
I
that
also
is
think
when, and then after that, that's when he runs into Alice Rivers' room, and then she's
Mhm.
like making gooey potions and
I
like
like I like the fact that he
making all
takes
this
that.
nasty stuff. Yeah.
I like the fact that he drinks that, even though like you were worried about being poisoned, you're over here taking this crazy lady's goof juice.
Well, no,
yeah,
he doesn't drink it. It shows him bringing it to his mouth, but he doesn't actually drink it. It's when we flip to the next scene, he's like,
Mhm.
well, has already taken a drink and he's pulling it from his lips, and he's just
Mhm.
like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
Actually, before that scene, I actually like how she basically airs out his dirty laundry. It's like that she knows that he was there after fighting with Rhaenyra because he never sent any ravens,
yeah,
and basically calling him out, saying like, "Oh, so having her succeeded you, and you don't not are you trying to prove yourself, or are you
Mhm.
trying to show that you are worth something, or maybe
Mhm.
cover for something, or maybe make up for something?" And he's just like,
Mhm.
"Get out of my head," which.
right. And she's like, are you gonna take me as like your slave and like all this stuff, and like she's all like
Mhm.
holding her stomach, like what do you like
I
what are
know.
we what are
It's
we
like
hinting at here? Like,
perhaps,
is something
yeah.
gonna happen? Like, it's like all these little subtle things, like just
Mhm.
certain
Uh,
gestures of like the characters. Like whenever you see a chick holding your stomach, Allison earlier when she was taking the potion, like she was also holding her stomach, which kind of hinted at it. And then now
Mhm.
Alice Rippers was like mentioning like Damon taking her as like his captive or whatever, and then she was holding her stomach as if like, you're gonna take me and then like have your way with me, like,
right?
and so
Mhm.
so that's also something that is like,
She's just messing with him,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. So it's
just
just all
pressing
like this
every button.
weird,
She's pressing all the
yeah,
right
she's
buttons.
just like messing with them as much as like she possibly can, and
Mhm.
then we see like the whole like world flip, and then he's at the table having a whole like meeting with
Sir William.
Willem Blackwood,
Hmm.
who's the little boy we see from season 1.
Oh, that
He
was
wanted
him?
to marry.
Yep.
Yeah, because he mentions it. He
Ah,
mentions like conversation. He was like, I pined for like Rhaenyra's hand, like I was
Mm-hmm.
there, and
okay.
she didn't accept me, but that didn't change the fact that I
Yeah, like
still
her spirit.
supported her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I liked her spirit, and I still support her as like the heir.
Yeah,
So
but Damon pays no mind to any of that because he's too busy tripping balls and seeing Lena
Mm-hmm.
walk around the table.
Pouring good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another one of his regrets. See what I mean? Like with all these visions, these are like each of his past mistakes coming back to haunt him, and it's just
Uh,
breaking him down.
well, with
yeah,
Lena, he did really try.
He
he
But
did love
really
her.
did
That's
love
why.
her. Yeah.
yeah, and what happened there was that it was so much that Lena was kind of pushing him, you're better than this, you can do more than this. And there was that ambition again that was,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think it was a right call for him though.
Yeah.
He wanted to lay low and be like,
But then
just
those, and then like that shit happens though when she like has the dragon burn her alive,
Hmm.
mm-hmm,
and that was partially Damon's fault.
mm-hmm,
And that's why like when he
He
sees
wanted to go back to Driftmark.
yeah, and
mm-hmm,
that's why like when you see him with chasing Aidman through the castle before he runs into the witch, I think like that also shows the viewer, like going back to what Lane said, that like he kind of had a hand in making Aidman into what he
Hmm.
is.
Yes, he did.
mm-hmm.
He sure did.
Pretty much everybody had a hand in that because everybody
Yeah,
picked on him.
Yeah, it
mm-hmm,
wasn't exactly that Damon was picking on him. It was more like the whispers that he was putting into his ear.
mm-hmm.
And I think like, you know, a Eamon kind of weirdly admired Damon because
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
he saw like, oh, I'm
Well, it's
also
his
like the
uncle,
second
you
son
know.
uncle, but I'm also, and he's a badass. He
Mm-hmm,
gets shit done, and he gets overlooked. You know,
mm-hmm.
just he's
Just
getting
like him, I
overlooked.
think it's like a
Yeah,
kinship between him
Hmm.
exactly. So
and
He identifies with him a little bit.
yeah,
and
exactly.
honestly, for being Viserys' son, he's more like Damon.
Hmm.
He's like so alike, like very, very much alike.
It's the curse of the second son.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Okay,
And then we head back to
so
the small council in the Red Keep where Aegon is just like they're just chatting away on how the resources are dwindling.
Right.
well, yeah, is wait, or isn't this the part where Aegon goes into Allison's room and he's just like,
Right.
Well, they're
they're not
having the
taking
meeting.
me serious.
They're having the meeting and they're just talking over him, saying like our resources are dwindling. The dragons need more goats because they're more hungry, especially Vagar, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
Cole,
And
and
that's
they're
when he says, "You all bore me."
yeah, exactly. And they're like, I think one thing that kind of triggered also him is that they were kind of up talking about Cole as the kingmaker, and they were kind of praising him a little bit. And that's when it's like, that's when he goes, you know what, you guys bore me, I'm out of here. And then he goes into his bedchamber, and Allison is there looking for the books, which is like, I got them removed. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, how
Hmm.
dumb can you be? Like
He's
that.
like, "I removed them. I didn't burn them." Like, there's a difference.
It's
Mm-hmm.
still pretty bad, dude. Like, and even Allison, I'm like, because you couldn't benefit from the years of experience that your father worked with as well. Like, you couldn't benefit from those books.
It's just he's never been the studious type. It's always been Aemon.
Well, that explains why he didn't know how to speak High Valerian.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
exactly.
does, but not as well as Aiden
Uh,
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also gotta like remember, like he grew up like not thinking he was gonna be.
that's
Yeah.
true.
All of his dad's attention was put into Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra was at the
Yeah.
small council. She was the cupbearer. She sat had a seat, whereas like he was just completely ignored.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
And then
Yeah, he was
yeah,
not trained to be a king. Like
No, he
Rhaenyra
was
no,
was
not.
not
to,
at
like
all.
Rhaenyra was trained to like rule and be a queen,
yeah,
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but
and
then
exactly.
this was thrown into his lap, and now he's like, "Well, I'm the king," and like it like that's like where Otto Hightower comes in
Mm-hmm.
too. And he's like you like everything that he's put in Aemon's head, or
Mm-hmm.
fucking yeah, the king's head. He's like, "Hey, you know, you're the king. You can't let people talk to you like this. You got to be more like this, that, the other thing." And he's taking that with him. And now everyone Now that Otto is gone, everyone's telling him, like, even his own mother is like, you need to shut up and sit down.
Basically, dude, in a good auto fashion, she basically just you
Yeah.
have no idea the
Well,
sacrifices that were made to put you on the throne.
well, it all just stems from like, he's just there to be the figurehead. He's
Pretty
not
much.
really that's what they wanted him for. They wanted him just to be there, just to be like, you're gonna say you're gonna do this and then enforce it, like, and that's it. That's the only job you have.
And this is
Enforcing
what
what we tell you, and that's it.
Now, for as much as I dislike Otto, I do give him this. He did try to teach him of how to be a decent king and how to make decisions. He, like, as it was going on, like we saw in the previous episode before, where he's like,
Yes.
when he was having the meeting with the townspeople, like, hey,
Yes.
we need this, we need that. And then he's like, Otto's like, well, if you make this decision, this is how it's going to affect things. So you need to make a better decision, you know? And where everyone else now is just like, just let us do everything. You're gonna just like Jen just said,
sit there.
he's the figurehead. He's gonna sit there and wait.
And Allison pretty much just this is the only time I felt bad for actually I felt bad for him a little bit in this whole entire episode. And Allison just like delivering this messed up lines is like, all you have to do is sit there and do nothing. Like, let these men who have earned their seats in the council do their job, and you just sit there and say nothing. And you can see Aegon going like, you can see his heart breaking because his own mother telling him this. That
Yeah.
couldn't have been something easy to take,
But she told him, like, in the way that she told him, like, do what is expected of you. Nothing. And he's like, what the hell?
That
Like,
is messed up, dude. Like, wow. Like, I was like, damn, let me put some ointment on that burn, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
You need some aloe vera.
Dude, for
Yeah.
reals. And from his own mother, that's like saying, like, dude, like
But
nobody needs you.
yeah.
You're just here because you're a piece on the puzzle. You're plaything.
You what came out first,
Yeah.
basically saying that was it.
But she's like just been shitty to all of her kids, and I feel like she never really cared about any of them, honestly. You know.
But
Well, no, because
this
she was
comment just
only
took the
taught.
cake, though.
Yeah, she
It
only
really did.
was.
No, it's just so messed up, but
Yeah.
it all just like solidifies
Who she
Yes.
really
all
is, yeah.
Oh,
who
yeah.
she is, and that she never like really
Well, this is
cared
who.
about her children.
Well,
Really,
this is
even
who
though
she
she
was
says she did.
brought up to be.
Exactly.
Like her dad pretty much said, get close to the king, and then when you get to be queen, and you get to be his wife, you're just gonna pop up heirs, and that's all you're doing. That
Pretty
was
much.
pretty much a job.
Yep.
It doesn't entail that you're gonna be a mother and all this. No, it's just a job.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I felt bad for Aegon in that scene. It sucks,
Yeah.
but
I did too, but
that's
I
that's
just
kind
who
of
that's who she is. Like that's.
I feel bad for Aegon all just throughout this is because he's not a bad person. He's
No.
No, he's
not.
not.
he's
And
a
you
kid.
see
He's a
him,
dumb kid.
well, not only, but it's not his fault that he's a dumb kid. No one's investing anything into him.
Yeah, they're not teaching
Never
them
have.
anything.
So
Yeah, never
it's that
had.
exactly like they never have, they never will. And that's why I can't help feel bad for him because you see him struggling. And that's why I said, like, as much as I hate Otto, I do give him the credit for stepping
Trying.
up and trying. But then,
Yeah.
then
Other
he's
people got into his
like,
head.
yeah, everyone else got into his head, and then the one guy who was legitimately helping him was banished by him.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
because he
messed up.
led Cole. He let Cole in.
It's cool. It's all Cole's fault.
Yeah,
In the long
it's
run.
like,
And that's
and
why,
everybody
like,
and he doesn't even notice that. It's like everybody's using him. Everybody. There's nobody that wants him to be a good king. No, they're just using him for their own gain.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up, and that's how like that whole family has always been, and it's all how they always will be, and it's just such a stark difference between Rhaenyra and Viserys, and like how he really did love her. Like he loved his daughter and he wanted the best for her, and there was genuine like love and affection and caring, and
Mhm.
he loved his first wife, and he was also fulfilling a duty of being king. But I don't it was just like so much better, and it's like you can see, you're obviously able to see that and how different Rhaenyra's children are than Alicent's children.
Oh yeah, because she
Mhm.
definitely loves her kids.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
she definitely loves her
definitely.
kids. And
Yeah.
and then from there we get into probably what's gonna be the best part of of the entire episode. We go to the woods near the castle, the Rook's
Yeah.
Nest, and Kristen, his army is like a lot bigger now, I guess, and they're basically getting ready to attack. And I think it's Gwyneth, or what's his name?
Yeah,
Gwaine.
Gwyneth.
Gwaine
Mhm.
Yeah,
Hightower.
he's like telling him
Mhm.
because they want to attack in daylight. I'm like, dude, like, why don't we wait for the nighttime?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he goes like, nah, we'll go now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the same time, like you see him just cutting down a bunch of trees and tearing down a
Mhm.
bunch of trees.
But we don't
And
know why.
well, obviously, like I was like, oh, well, they're gonna make some battering rams.
Mhm.
I thought that maybe they
or
were gonna.
like they're making them for like some weapons that they're gonna use.
I
Or
thought
like
That was
maybe.
like my first.
defenses.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was like, or like the pikes. Yeah, like I was like, oh, this is just normal war shit.
Nope,
They
there's
always
something
tear
else to
down
put.
the forest. Yeah, they always
Mhm.
tear down the forest, bastards.
Mhm.
I mean, there was I thought maybe that they were gonna make that one weapon, that anti-dragon weapon, but there's
Mhm.
there's
I
something
thought
more
that too
afoot.
at the
Oh,
Scorpion.
you
beginning. I
mean
thought that
the
too.
scorpion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Nah, that would take way too much time
They
to.
would have to
mhm.
like roll that in with
Yeah.
them,
No, like
and it
when
would
you
be
see
way too obvious.
soldiers,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like when you see soldiers chopping down trees and stuff before a big battle, it's usually to make the small defenses for a siege, make like extra makeshift spears or the
Exactly.
like and battering rams,
Yeah.
like Lane said, all that other shit.
But
Like,
I like the
Yeah.
little dialogue that Kristen and Gwen have, where Gwen is basically saying, like, dude, you're crazy for attacking daylight.
Mhm.
And then Kristen goes
Mhm.
like, are you scared? And goes like, no, worse, I'm rational.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cole on
well,
his little
you
unicorn,
can't
his
really,
little unicorn horse, his little,
yeah, it's a little unicorn
the
shield thing.
unicorn horse.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you can't
Like, you'll
blame,
get a dragon, but I'm gonna get a unicorn.
Mhm.
you can't really blame Gwen or Gwyn or whatever
Oh
his
my
stupid
goodness.
name is.
Mm.
Gwaine, G
Gwen,
W A Y
yeah,
N E.
Gwen.
Okay.
It's
Gwen's
like
Can't,
world.
Wayne with a G in front.
yeah,
Gwen's world.
Gwen. Yeah, you can't blame him for like his, because he's been taught battle strategy a certain way, and he's like, let's use our battle strategy that we know. But Cole keeping everything hush hush doesn't let him know they have something else brewing,
Yeah.
which I
We're
thought
gonna
was
we're gonna
very clever of
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
him.
we're gonna
Well,
get to and we're gonna
also,
get to that in a bit.
but also
Mhm.
another thing is, if you think about it, it's been 80 years of prosperity
Peace.
and peace. So all these like Gwaine and all his men and even all of these rivermen of the houses they took over, like they've never really been in real battle. Like none of these people have been in war except for Christian Cole.
Mhm.
He's
You
the only
suck.
one that's been in war. So like
True.
he, so it's like Gwaine is also just nervous because he doesn't want to fucking die, because he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing either, because he's never been in a war. It's so he's also terrified.
Well, well, you see a little bit of
So
Gwen's inexperience in the
a
scene where they're
lot of it.
taking the previous castle, where he has some injuries in his face. So clearly his combat skills aren't as good as Cole's, which is
No.
probably why he lost the tournament.
Yes. To Damon. Well, I mean, he was up against Damon, so there really
Yeah,
isn't
that's
any
true too.
he was gonna
Damon,
win.
Well, Damon lost
I
against Cole though.
Yeah,
Yes.
but Cole that, but then you find out later it's because Cole was actually in a war, actually fought
Hmm.
in a war, whereas Damon wasn't. I don't think Damon was actually in a war before the Battle of the Stepstones.
No, but
But
he's
Damon,
seen combat though, because
yeah,
he
but
fought
he
against the
this was
crab people.
well, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That The crab
Yeah,
people
but that
can
was
Oh,
fly.
after the.
That's the only combat experience he has?
Yeah.
As far as I know, yeah.
Oh, damn.
For like a large
Because
scale,
his,
yes. Cole
yeah,
has like
his,
is a veteran.
yeah,
Mhm.
because his parents, so Ceres's parent, the Ceres, Damon, and Rhaenys's parents, they fought in like the second Dornish war where they tried to take over Dorne, the Sand people in the south. And then that's how like Rhaenys's father was killed during that war. And so that's another reason we'll get to it later where certain dragons are like have more battle experience than other dragons because they
Exactly.
actually were in some wars. But Daemon wasn't in any war until the
Yeah.
Battle of the Stepstones. He
Yeah.
ran around and caused some shit. I'll tell you that. Like he was a member of like he was in charge of like the Kingsguard, like the Gold Cloaks. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely, and did some enforcing. But as
Yeah.
far as I know, they weren't old enough. Him and Viserys weren't old enough to participate in that war. They were still kids.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Westeros has experienced 80 years of peace. Cole is not from Westeros.
That's all
So,
thanks to Viserys, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah. But before
no,
we
Jaehaerys, that's King Jaehaerys.
Yeah,
Jaehaerys,
Jaehaerys before him.
Yes.
But before we move on to the next scene, we have to go back to Dragonstone, where Rhaenyra basically she shows up. Is like, dude, where you been?
Yeah,
Well, her son.
Jace is like, yo, where you been, mom?
I
Right
like
Yeah.
here,
I like that she like that
doing stuff.
he like basically scolds her, but she gives him a look like, excuse me, little boy,
Yeah,
I will whoop you in front of this council. Don't think I won't.
But she
right.
also took it with grace because like she understood that she deserved some of that.
No, and
Like,
you do see that because even though she shuts him down, and you see it, like Jacerys like kind of like brings it down. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, Mom. But she goes like, I'm sorry I worried you guys. I had to do something to try to stop the war before it starts. I went to go talk
Yep.
to Allison, which immediately goes like, Jacerys is like, what?
he's like,
Who was just
well,
out there with no one just walking around.
Also,
What?
like, if you died, you understand that would be it. Like, this will
Yeah,
be for nothing if you die.
Exactly.
pretty
That's what he
much.
says.
but I mean, that was more from a place of concern versus like a place of like, um, like just like personal gain or greed, Like,
Yeah,
I was just like, that's my mom. Don't do stupid shit like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they also inform her that that's when the Duskendale
Yeah, it's
house
been taken.
was taken. So the guy with her is like just hit
Yeah.
with the news that his dad was
I know
dead.
that sucks.
Yeah, so you can see that that news hit him hard, and then they tell him like, well, they're going to Rook's Rest now, and that's when Jace is like, we gotta send a dragon, and she was just like,
All right, I'll go.
I'll go. Let me get on my dragon. I'll go.
And
was like,
immediately
no.
everyone's like, are you serious? Like,
What? No. Right? So it's also like a funny, silly little callback to when Aegon was like, I'll get on Sunfire, and everyone was like, what? No. Like the two people that are supposed to not go into battle are both just like, I'm gonna go because
yeah. And Jacerys,
one is because he just doesn't know any better, and he just
wants to
essentially
prove
thinks it's
himself.
a game and wants to prove himself. And then Rhaenyra is just like, well, people are underestimating me, so I'm gonna go and show what the fuck is up.
yeah, and
Two
Jacerys
very
is
different, like two
Jacerys
very
is
different,
volunteering.
yeah.
Jacerys is volunteering to go with Vermax, which is like, you're not experienced for this, kid. Which Rhaenys steps up and she's like, you know what? If anybody should go, it's me, because I'm clearly the one with the most experience, and I have the second biggest dragon in the entire area right now.
Yep.
Which, I mean, dude, the look Rhaenyra had when Rhaenys volunteers, you could see her. I'm like, her fear,
Like it's gonna
just
be a Luke 2.0.
she goes like, I don't want to lose you. It's like, I don't want you to go, but Rhaenys eventually convinces her, and
No, she doesn't convince her. She just says, "I'm gonna go," and she goes. Like
Oh, so she just
she just
decides to
makes.
like, I'm going.
Yeah, she makes
Yep,
the decision
that's
for
it.
everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah.
She's
Yep.
like, if that's exactly how it happened. Like,
Yeah.
there's no convincing anybody. She's like, I'm going
Mhm.
bouncing.
I'm the obvious
And
choice.
that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
And then we have what is like probably one of the best pivotal, I guess you can call it pre-battle montages where we see
Oh,
everybody
I loved
gearing
it.
up. You see
The eve of battle.
exactly, you see
Mhm.
Rhaenys going up to Meleys and she's like talking to her one more time, one last battle, old girl.
And like
Yep.
and Aragon going up to Sunfire. And I
Aw.
just love how like Sunfire greeted him. And
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
such
Like
a
a little
touching.
playful, like a puppy, you know?
Yeah,
Yes.
Like,
it
oh
was a
hey, Dad,
very
we're gonna
touching.
go on a ride. We're gonna go for a fly right now. Yeah, let's go.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
Don't make me
he's
cry
just
right now.
standing there holding your, like you're holding your dog's leash. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
And it's just you
But
see like that moment,
this,
the nudge between them, and then the
Mhm.
smile, and you just like
yeah, that big smile he
realize,
got.
and it's said in the books that Aegon and Sunfire had the strongest connection out of everyone else and all of their dragons,
Mhm.
and you
As
they really like show
portrayed it
that,
really well.
Mhm.
and you're like, oh, that fucking dragon is the only thing that's ever shown him any kind of love
Genuine
and
love.
Mhm.
appreciation, like really loved him, like, and
Yes.
that's why he loves his dragon, and that's why there's such a close bond, because
Mhm.
he never got love from his fucking dad or his shitty mom,
Mhm.
so it's just really touching. And then the whole Meleys and Rhaenys scene is
Yes.
really sweet, because they've been together for like 50
Ever.
years.
And they're both
Yes.
old
Yeah,
girls, they've seen some stuff.
yeah, they have,
Mhm.
Like
and
Meleys has the battle scars. You can see
Mhm.
her,
Yes.
see some of the scars she has.
yep.
And
And
Rhaenys is
So
just like, one more time, girl. Just one more time.
yeah.
yeah,
And then I think
yeah, it's so sad.
What are you saying, Jen?
I was already
no,
crying at that
yeah,
point.
no, yeah. In that part, it was already very emotional. I mean, I think she already knew what was gonna transpire.
I-
Like there was no
Yeah.
doubt in her mind.
Hmm. But we'll get
Yep.
that. We get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then
We
Rhaenyra's telling Jace about the prophecy, the Song of Ice and Fire, and the whole
Mhm.
time. And then the interesting thing is, like, she's telling him in front of like the dragon skull, which is like a callback to when Viserys talked to her about it, and it was in
exactly.
front of Valerian the Dread skull, and it was just
Mhm.
like a full like circle moment. And it's
They do that a lot in the show.
yeah, there's a lot of callbacks. They did it in
Mhm.
the first scene when David was coming in. That was a total callback to like the first episode where Rhaenyra comes into the throne room, and David's
Mhm.
sitting on the Iron Throne, and she's like, "That's not your seat." And he's like, "I got you this necklace," and it was a total callback to that. So it's like
Yeah.
I like how they do like a lot of like these full circle moments.
Mhm.
And she's talking and telling this while the other two are talking and greeting their dragons and taking off. And I just love like I just love when you see like Aegon flying on like Sunfire and his like fucking lame ass armor that is not even nearly as cool looking as like everybody else's armor. And I like how they had the camera like it was just kind of like weaving back and forth, like because mind you, like earlier, right before he went down there, like he was sitting at that table and he like cat pawed the goblet off and like broke all the well, he drank all the alcohol, so he was really drunk.
Mhm.
And he was drinking when he was about to get on his dragon.
Yeah, so he was super wasted. So it's like the equivalent of like just drunk driving. He's just like drunk flying on that dragon, like, woo, like just fucking
Luckily, the dragon has a
oblivious
mind.
to oblivious to like, but like it's like his
Mhm.
point of view on the back of the
Mhm.
dragon. So
Right,
it's like
yeah.
super weavy, and we've seen like other riders on the back of their dragons. It's not a smooth ride, but like his is definitely like supposed to be like a drunk person on their dragon clearly. just flying into, he doesn't even realize what he's flying into, which is like the saddest part, because poor Sunfire is just like, yeah, we're just going for a fly. Haven't done this for a little while, blowing off some steam. Just thinking he's having a good old time. Two dumb idiots just flying to doom.
I know. Then we go back to Rook's Rest, where like 1,500 men are about ready to storm the castle, and Melis, not Melis, Cole's army is basically starting the attack, and the castle is actually putting up a pretty decent fight. They have archers just
Well,
constantly
I mean,
launching
when
arrows.
you're at a castle, especially back in those days, you had the advantage because you had a big ass wall, and like with primitive technology, like it was much easier to fire arrows from a vantage point versus being guys on the ground storming the castle.
Yes, the floor of the rings taught us anything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so that's why they're like a small place was holding their own, is because they had the defensive advantage.
Exactly. And the entire time Gwen is like telling Cole, like, dude, our men are getting slaughtered. Are you sure this is the best course of action? And then Cole's like, send two arrowed flames out, to indicate that everything's going according to plan.
Yes.
And here we see Melis coming up from the coast, flying over the castle, and then just torching a bunch of the attacking forces.
Meline comes in, and that's when Cole's like, send a signal arrow.
Yeah, everything's going according to plan. And Gwen is like, what? What are you talking about?
And then the horns start going.
Yep.
And then we cut to big grandmama Vagar with him, and basically it's like easy girl.
Laying in wait. So that's another reason why they were clearing out a lot of wood too, to become giant Godzilla dragon.
And Jen pointed out something that I actually didn't pick up about the way they cut down the trees. What would you say, man?
Dude, it made it so Rhaegar could blend into the environment. Because if you see it on her skin, it looks greenish, so it looks like it blends into the.
Exactly, like she blends in with the
tree. I was
like,
so that it looks like is so cool.
That was actually really smart, and that's actually a pretty good military tactic. And even Aemon, he had like some kind of garb.
Camouflage.
Some pretty decent camouflage.
It's really cool. I was like, oh, I did not catch it the first time I watched it. Until I slowed it down, and I was like, wait a minute, wait, what?
And then he's just waiting.
Cool.
He's just waiting for the final signal to get ready, and then here comes our dummy Aegon on Sunfire, just ruining the plan.
Wow. But he didn't know what the plan was. I'm pretty sure if they told him, like, hey, this is our plan, he'd be like, hey, I don't like having to sit this out, but that's a pretty good plan.
Right? Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't tell him anything. They just left him out. Like
This is what happens when you don't inform people. Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid shit happens.
Exactly.
And then Aemon just pissed off at the whole thing, and even Vagar's about to get a little rowdy, but he calms her down, and it just goes to show you.
Not yet. Like
it just goes to show you how much better control he has over her now.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we pan to Cole basically going like, this idiot. And instead of like calling off the plan, he goes like, okay, I'm gonna need to use this as the advantage. And he rallies the men. It's like, your king is here. He's gonna fight for us. He's gonna lead us into a glorious battle. Yeah, into a glorious victory. This is a good moment.
I mean, what else could he do? Be like,
just lie. Just lying to these guys.
Well, it's not lying. It's not lying. It's a good change of tactics. Yeah, because like, let's say like he decided like, oh, the king is here. Let's abandon our king. What does that tell your troops? We don't have any faith in our ruler. That means they're gonna have less faith in themselves.
That's
so it's like, oh, the king is here, and like, because back then, like the king, like would always like they would ride into battle with their troops. They were the symbol of hope.
That's true.
That would make
back
the
in
men. That would make the men like rally up and fight harder. Like, hey, the king is here. Let's do this.
Yeah.
No, mind them if they were drunk or not. That's just
it
Don't
helps.
mind them his weird driving of the dragon. Don't pay attention to that. Just fight for him.
Then after seeing this, you see Rhaenys with Meleys turn their attention to Sunfire, which really shows her dragon riding abilities and how well and connected she is to Meleys, because they go head to head first with Sunfire, shooting fire at Meleys, who kind of deflects it
But
and
then drives right through it and uses that
and
to
grabs a
like
hold of Sunfire and just cuts her chest open and like spewing her blood, which I guess is acid because it burned a bunch of guys down below.
It's just so hot. It's like
Yeah.
they're just super hot because
It's like throwing like acid at people.
Jeez.
yeah, because their blood is so
Jesus.
hot because they can breathe fire.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Makes
it's very
sense.
corrosive.
Yeah,
so
but-
they're supposed to have like these glands that produce
Yeah.
like this liquid that they ignite. That it's like they have internal gasoline for their fire.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think that's
yes.
what like it's supposed to be representing. Like it's just so fucking hot because they're just fire breathing, nuclear weapons with
It's an
wings.
amped up version of the xenomorph.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
exactly. But then
And
the
then-
interesting thing I liked was that, as Meleys is obviously very well bonded
Combat
with her
experience, yeah.
dragon, and she controls it really well. She's calling all of the speaking to her in
Attacks.
Valyrian, whereas
Yes.
fucking Drunky over here is just being like
Yeah, Sunfire!
telling
Sunfire!
Sunfire to fly in English, and then the only really Valyrian word he knows is
Dracarys!
Dracarys, 'cause that's it. So
Dracarys!
it's like, if you think about it, poor Sunfire is just flying into
I
this,
know,
like,
poor baby.
no commands.
But dude,
Barely,
she crippled Sunfire in like a one swift move because she goes for the wing, incapacitates her like that, and then goes for the chest and claws out her lung, which basically you can see her struggling to breathe because you can hear it, and she's like barely able to flap her wing, and then here comes Meleys for the kill. But then we see something in the distance, and I think the castle guy actually sees it, and it's a really cool scene because the guy's telling like, my lord, we need to get you inside. He's like, no, I want to see this.
Yeah.
And you see,
it's
and you
Aemon
see,
and
then you see Grandmama Vhagar coming up.
yeah, Vhagar and Aemon are beneath the tree line, which is like a big ass fucking thing, just hiding out beneath the tree line. And you catch a glimpse of it, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, she's
they
just
really
like
put it in perspective of how big
she is. Yeah,
dragon
because
is.
you could like the way she's flapping up, the amount of strength that it takes for her to just get to that height. You can see that she's like, ugh. Hang on real quick, give me a minute.
Yeah,
And then
it's just insane how big that dragon is compared
yes,
to
dude, it was
the
like
other
a
two.
AC-1. It's an AC-130 just flying into combat, and Rhaenys sees this, and
I was thinking like a B-52 bomber,
basically,
big old boys.
And Meleys Rhaenys and Meleys see this, and she's basically telling Meleys, "Dude, we gotta get higher." Because I'm guessing Vhagar probably can't fly that high, huh?
No, it just takes a while.
Takes her a while, yeah.
Yeah, and so like Lisa, it's just like she's a big dragon, but not as big. So like she has like
is known as the fastest dragon.
Yeah, she has the agility. So like if you can get above Venice or
Vhagar.
Yeah, Vhagar. If you can get above Vhagar and then come back down and attack that way, it's more to your advantage.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Well, then, like, anyway, so, Rhaenys is
ideally, of course.
Meleys is like attacked the wing and she's just chomped that wing, and then, here comes Vhagar.
And Aegon's like, thank the gods.
Oh, sweet, I'm gonna be saved. And then he just roasts them, like, clearly.
You see Aemon go like, Dracarys, Sunfire.
The question is, though, was that his chance to usurp the throne, or was
that was totally intentional.
Yeah.
Like, he totally aimed that at.
That was not a misfire.
No, both of them.
We're gonna blast these guys with fire, and if they die,
they die.
He died. I was really aiming for her, and he was just in the way, and I was trying to help, and then whoops.
And he's gonna be the challenger.
Yeah.
No, but Aemon straight up says Dracarys Sunfire. And
Yeah.
then I guess Aegon hears it and he goes like, "What? No!" And he
Mhm.
gets a full face of fire. And poor
Just gets
Sunfire, dude.
roasted.
Sunfire did not deserve any of this, man.
No.
You see her, because she gets the full brunt of the blast, and you can
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
see her
Mhm.
wing is just caught on fire and she's coming to the ground. And poor thing crashes into the tree line and you see like an explosion. And the second battle comes up afoot, and then freaking Melis, it looks like they're on their way out of there, but Melis looks back at it, Rhaenys, and she goes like, "I'm with you, girl. Let's go for it." And then Rhaenys tells her, "Let's go for it one more time."
Goes
And
to
Mhm.
attack
they
again, and
circle around and they get in that it's called a death dive, and eagles actually do this when they're mating, which is actually kind of cool. But
it's
when
what
they're
they based it
yeah,
off of that.
so they're doing this and they're shooting fire at each other and the talons are locked, and Melis is able to knock down Vhagar because she at the last second lets go and then pumps her wings and gets out of the way. Vhagar takes the full brunt of the force. She falls on top of a bunch of people and starts tipping over.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh well, like
the
Melis.
giant kaiju moment where she just
Exactly.
Yes.
All while Rhaenys and Melis are like kind of doing a swing by, and somehow Vhagar is gone, which is really weird. And
Mhm.
they're
Well,
looking
She was
I mean,
hiding.
he sneaked off. She sneaked up
Mhm.
somewhere. But I think I
Mhm.
want to just point out Rhaenys's face during that whole battle is like she knew she was,
Mhm.
going down. Like that, she
Mhm.
just had that look on her face the
Yeah.
whole
Mhm.
entire time. Like you could see it from
Mhm.
like the start of the battle. Like you knew,
Mhm.
like she's not walking away from this one.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
I gotta give props to Rhaenys and Melis, dude. Her skills handling her dragon are so impressive. This girl was throwing hands. She
Mhm.
damaged Vhagar's chest as well. Not deep enough,
Mhm.
unfortunately, but she definitely dealt a pretty good blow to her
Mhm.
chest, and it almost looked like she had incapacitated her, but I guess
Mhm.
Aemon was somehow able to get her away from the area.
Mhm.
And Melis and Rhaenys are flying, trying to find them. And here,
Mhm.
I can't say what happens next. You guys do it.
Okay, what happens next is that what's the dragon's name again? Fuck, I'm
Vhagar,
blanking.
Vhagar,
Vhagar.
Vhagar.
Vhagar comes up out of
Vhagar.
nowhere from behind
the castle.
the castle and
Mhm.
it's on a cliffside,
Hmm.
so it's
and
just like
just
it
chomps
dropped to
down
the
on the
ocean.
neck of Eileen.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
like, "Ugh."
just
And then
the same way that he killed
Mhm. Luke.
uh Luke. Is it Luke? Lucerys. Lucerys.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yes, I mean it's just like, but I mean that's how most animals kill things. They just go through the throat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she grabs her by the neck.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then like and it was really sad because you see the life drain of
Melis.
Lee's eyes. Like she looks back at
Mhm.
uh she looks back
Rhaenys.
at yeah, she looks back at her and then they just
Vhagar
go
lets her go.
dead.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well she lets go after she's
Mhm.
dead.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
then they fall right on top of the castle.
Yeah.
big explosion. Yeah,
Yeah, big
Mhm.
explosion. I mean, these
yeah.
guys, it's just, it was a very hard, wretched scene because even though you knew it was coming, you didn't, you were kind of hoping maybe it won't.
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe the
Maybe,
writers like change something and then we might. I was
Mhm.
like, maybe I don't know. I was like, I know it's not gonna happen, but I was rooting so hard that
maybe we'll get an
they
Ex Machina
changed
and
it.
Rhaenyra comes in.
They
Mhm.
changed it and like they would make her fly off and then come back
Mhm.
for a different dragon battle or something. But definitely was this whole season has had a spotlight on Rhaenys, and so we knew she was
Mhm.
gonna go out. And I just think,
Mhm.
there's just so many things that poor woman had gone through. She lost both of her children.
Mhm.
She found out her husband cheated on her and had bastards. Like
Mhm.
fucking Damon in like the first episode of the second season pretty much threw in her face that like essentially it's her fault that Luke's dead because she didn't kill the
Mhm.
Greens when she had a chance. Like that's like
Mhm.
a lot of stuff for this poor woman to
Mhm.
deal with. Plus, just trying so hard to to be a voice for her granddaughters, and her husband
Yes.
just being like, nah, they're girls, which is just, a big slap in the face because Rhaenyra is trying to be the queen and we're backing her and trying to support her, but like you don't even want your own granddaughter to be your heir. Like
Yeah.
just a lot that she had to deal with. And so I just felt like she just had all of these things where she was just like, that's it, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it back from this. Like
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
she's played her part. I mean, people will argue that maybe she thought that she was gonna come back from it, and maybe she essentially did before Vagar showed up. You know what I mean? Once Vagar entered the picture, like she was just like, damn.
Well,
And then I think it was just a matter of just trying to damage Vagar as much as she possibly could.
Yes.
I gotta say though, if Aegon hadn't intervened, I think she might have stood a better chance. Because, like I keep saying, her experience as a dragon rider was so well portrayed in this scene. She was kicking both of their asses. Like
She did. She was winning. Like
yeah,
essentially, she was winning. It's like that sneak attack got her though. Like that.
Yeah.
Like that got her. Like I feel like she could have really, like,
done some serious damage.
Mm-hmm.
It'd been nice if Damon was there because I'm pretty sure both his dragon and her would have taken him down easily.
Well, in the books, they arrived together.
They jump her,
yeah. Ganged up on her.
They jump her.
There wasn't like
you're cutting out.
So like in the books, they show up together, and there wasn't any point where like one attacked and then the other came in later. Like they saw her and they both attacked her at the same time.
Yeah, they jumped her basically.
Yeah, but even in the books, like Maelys was super badass and still got off all of those mortal wounds to Sunfire, before getting her neck bit by Vagar, and then so they definitely stuck to what damage the dragons did to each other was exactly what they did to each other in the books.
Oh yeah, and on top of that, one thing I actually noticed that was different between her and the other two, she only uses fire twice in the entire fight. Once to basically throw off Sunfire, and then the second time when her and Vagar are locked in and they're trying to burn each other. That's the only time. Like Sunfire and Aegon were like trying to burn her, which obviously wasn't working. Vagar,
I don't even think she used fire.
She used fire.
She didn't use fire on Sunfire.
She didn't use fire.
Spit fire on her, and then she flew through it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Badass. And then
I mean, she was also flying overhead, burning shit out of people.
Well, yeah,
so
but
she's
I mean,
no, we're talking about the fight. No, yeah, she was burning the people, but
the dragon.
Between the dragon fight, the only time I saw her use fire is when she was locked in with Vagar, and they were trying to get the upper hand on each other. You're right, like she didn't use fire against Sunfire.
Well, that's the beauty of a dragon and her already knowing war. Like what does more damage.
Oh
in the long run, and that will definitely be body shots.
I can't get over how well she executed her attacks and how efficient she was taking Sunfire down and hurting Vagar to the point where I'm willing to bet she's not gonna be able to recover right away from that.
No.
Because not only did she bring her to the ground, she did the claw into her chest with, even though it didn't deal that much damage, you could see that it damaged her a little bit.
Yeah.
But all in all, great scene, but sad scene.
Down. Obviously, Sunfire's down.
I know, poor Sunfire. She didn't deserve any of this.
No.
She's just collateral damage.
I know, poor thing.
Yeah, and then we get to the next scene where the carnage is just like everywhere. Cole was knocked out during the whole thing, but he comes to and he sees the castle getting taken because she landed right on the wall. Maelys landed right on the wall and basically opened up a big gate for everybody to come in. And
you do a lot of damage.
Exactly. You see Cole looking over the tree line and you see the smoke billowing, and he immediately runs over there, and Aemond is right next to the dragon Sunfire, and he's putting his sword away. And
Is he putting his sword away, or
I mean, it looked like he was
or
putting. Well,
did he start putting it away because Cole
Cole
was his
showed up.
name?
Cole shows up,
Mhm.
like, Emmett. He's like, "What are you doing?"
It's like, no, nothing.
It's like
Picking up
nothing.
this
I was just polishing
dagger.
my sword, man. Just polishing my sword, bro. Just don't worry about it. And he walks over to Sunfire and he picks up the dagger because I guess it's come loose. And Cole's like, "Hey, where's the king?" And he just points at Sunfire with the blade. And at first I thought
Yeah.
Aegon was dead, but if you look closely, he's like holding his arm and you can see him pretty badly burned and he's still kind of like breathing, just like gurgling a little bit. But
Yeah, if you read
He's
the
very hurt.
books,
Mhm.
if you read the books, you know that he survives. Him and Sunfire
Spoiler.
yeah, spoilers all around. That's what this whole episode is.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, yeah, Sunfire is in really bad condition
They
and
both survive, but they do die later on in the story
okay,
by
for another
poison.
wow, for another episode, Matt.
Oh my
Either
gosh.
either way, that's pretty much how the
I mean, you
show
know
is.
what happens if you
Yeah.
read the books. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
go read some
Well,
books,
the
Ed.
other thing is the other thing that I don't know if it's going to happen, but it could, is that dagger, the prophecy only shows up when the blade is really hot.
Mhm.
It was really hot.
Jen and actually we're actually talking about that. Like, what if he saw the
And what
prophecy?
if he read the prophecy? And
'Cause he
so
knows how to
there's
read.
like a chance that maybe Aemond now knows the prophecy.
Yeah, because
Will
he
he
knows how to
tell
read High
anybody?
Valyrian. Hmm.
Maybe not, but like that might give him even more fuel to be like, oh, I'm the princess promised or whatever, and give him even more fuel to want to like
More
To usurp
ego.
the throne.
take over,
Well,
so we
yeah.
might even get like a third civil war in this, a mini civil war in the other civil.
Could be.
It could happen
Wars within wars.
as long
Yeah,
as they
and he'll
follow
be
the
house blue because
basis
he
of
has his eye that's
everything.
missing.
Yeah, they
And
can
another
play
question
around. Yeah.
that was lingering us was like, will Aemon say anything about Aemon trying to kill him?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, Cole. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, hey man, it looked a little suspicious what you were doing right
Mm-hmm.
there. It's like, bro, I was just polishing my sword. Chill.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm talking about the full-on attack when they were on their dragons. When
Yeah, the
he
dragon
commanded Vega
battle.
Oh,
to.
does Cole witness that? Does Cole witness Vhagar attacking
No.
Sunfire?
No, I'm talking about
No.
Aegon. Would Aegon say
Aegon
anything about it?
survived.
Oh yeah.
Because if Aegon did survive, which looks like he did, I mean, will he tell
Well,
anybody about that?
depending, but I don't think he'll be able to because if they follow the books, all that shitty armor is now fused to his body and he's bedridden in the books.
Oh
And
damn.
Ooh.
yeah, and like he's fucked
Uh-oh.
up. Like,
Mhm.
and so like things get like worse from here on out for House
Yeah.
Green because they don't really
Oh,
have a
Lord.
figurehead anymore, and everyone's going
Mhm.
to be fighting for power.
Oh,
Mhm.
no.
The
Mhm.
infighting. Well, maybe none of this would have happened if he had better armor. It looked like it got 3D printed, made out of foam.
It's. I mean, come on, you're being melted by
It was.
dragon's fire, and
I
you
thought
have
their armor
steel
was.
touching your skin.
I thought their armor was made from dragon skin, which is why it was
No,
resistant to
it's
fire.
not. It's a metal. It's what's the metal called again, Lane?
The Valerian
Yeah,
steel.
Valerian.
Mm.
Valerian. It's a metal like all the Starks have a well, not all the Starks, but like
Mhm.
Daemon's sword is Valerian.
Mhm.
Jon Snow's his father Ned Stark, and like there's like it's a rare precious metal, so like a few people have
Valerian
it.
steel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
especially yeah, Valerian
Is
steel.
their
So like
is their version of Beskar basically?
yes,
Well,
Because
but
either way.
Valeria doesn't
it's
exist, so
Mm.
Mhm.
there's no way to get it
yeah,
from
it's
that
not
place.
real.
So it's hard to find because you can't just mine it in Valeria because Valeria blew up. So it's like,
Yeah.
special metal, blah blah blah.
Either way, that's basically how the episode ends. Very tragic story. We can only wait
Really
to
hard.
see how Rhaenyra takes the news and
How everybody takes the news.
what she's gonna do from here. And we do
Yeah, we'll
see
see.
I would like to just point out how like Rhaenyra just played right into Cole's hand on all of this. Like,
unintentionally
like
too.
that, like he was expecting it. That's the reason why he took the Red Rook or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
And it's because like he was trying to draw out the dragon for them to kill or take down.
Well, yeah, just
Like,
goes to show you his combat experience. There's
yeah,
his
and then
combat
like
experience right there.
and like Rhaenyra before all this is like, oh, everyone thinks my caution it is
Is a
like my weak
weakness.
is a weakness. Let's show them that they're wrong, and then she just played right into his hand without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just goes to show you that
Yeah.
Cole is probably a more formidable opponent that he's being led to be.
Even though he's
the
an annoying
most
prick.
dangerous. Well,
And a
he's the
side
most
bitch.
dangerous on the team
On the
green.
battlefield. Yeah.
He's the most
Yes.
dangerous person they have because he knows the strategy
Oh yes.
and he can do all of that. Like Aemon's
Mhm.
dangerous because he has giant dragon,
Hmm.
but
That's it.
Aemon has never been in war. He doesn't really know strategy. If you notice, anytime Aemon is talking strategy, it's always with Cole, and Cole is
Mhm.
always being like, we should really do this and this and guiding like the whole thing. So
Mhm.
it's not really so much Aemon thinking of these
Mhm.
battle strategies. It's
Yeah.
it's Cole with Aemon there in the room, like
Mhm.
agreeing with what he's saying and you
Mhm.
know all
Yes.
of that stuff.
But that
So that's why Cole is the most dangerous person on Team Green, which
On the
means
battlefield,
he
yeah.
needs to die fast, quickly, soon, immediately.
That's what I want.
Take him out.
He needs to be exterminated.
I think that's what the internet wants.
Yes, yes,
Yes. I
yeah.
can just think of the memes for
I
that
hope
one.
he sticks around because as much of like as an asshole as he is, he's still very entertaining.
Yeah, he's a great
And
villain, and he makes shit happen.
yeah,
And
like
Yes.
give
stuff.
credit to
So,
where credit is due. I mean, yes,
No,
we would
yeah,
true
all
that, but
we would all
yeah.
love his up and comings, but I want it to
But
be towards the end of all this.
if they
Mhm.
do save
Yeah.
him, they do save him towards the end. I would like it to be by the hands of somebody he doesn't see coming. You know, somebody that we all
Or
like. You know,
By Laris.
or if you remember, Lane, like how everyone hated Jamie in Game of Thrones, but then he had that really awesome redemption arc. Maybe we'll get one from Cole.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I
But
don't think
but he's
so,
not
though.
as cool as Jamie, so
Yeah, I'm just also really interested in the Alice Rivers story. Like
yeah.
she's going to be
Oh
such a
yeah.
huge part in this story, and I feel like they're definitely going to change her direction. I mean, I don't know. It it's hard to tell because in the books she gets she's doing all this stuff that she's doing to Damon to Aemon. And so Eamon ends up falling in love with her and becomes obsessed with her and all of this stuff and flies
Mm,
around with her and takes her everywhere
yes.
and while Damon just kind of like takes Harrenhal and then moves on to and gets more people and he just kind of moves on. He's like the fact he's still in Harrenhal right now and all of this shit's happening to him is just completely just for the show. And
well, about that,
so
if you remember, like the books read exactly like a history textbook, so
yes,
they leave out a lot of information. So what I think the
yes.
show is doing is showing us all that missing information.
Yeah, no, I totally appreciate that, and I that's one of the reasons I like this show so much is we're getting way more, we're seeing way more stuff. But I'm just curious if they are going to, in fact, have Alice Rivers have her love fling with Aemond as soon as he arrives at Harrenhal, because that's eventually going to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
or if they're going to like cut that out and make that love story between Damon and Alice because Alice is like feeding him weird fucking drinks and potions and
Mm-hmm.
manipulating, we're doing weird shit to him, and
Mhm.
you know
She's
what I
getting
mean?
him
Like
high.
I just
Voodoo
I
magic.
just
Mhm.
suspect that there might just be a scene
Voodoo got him.
where they're just all of a sudden like banging, or have insinuated that they've banged, and Damon doesn't know when it happened or how he got there because he's drinking this potion,
Mhm.
and then maybe
She
Is
roofies him
that where
and
she was
becomes
touching her
pregnant.
belly?
she roofies him
See,
and
that's
rapes
what
him.
I'm saying.
That would
That's what I'm
be an
saying.
interesting.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey.
That could, in fact, happen, and they
Jen.
might be hinting at that with the whole touching the stomach thing.
Babe,
Yeah.
babe, she
No,
pulls
I
a
don't know.
she pulls a Talia al Ghul with Bruce.
Oh my God. Yes.
Straight up.
It's like, remember that night
No.
we had wine? Yeah, that's when I
And
got pregnant.
then,
I
and
slipped
then
you a
that,
Mickey and I
yeah,
just, you know, get
and
That's
then
racy
okay.
on
that
you.
would also insinuate
Oh,
why she's pushing him, being like, oh,
yes.
this is your claim, like, aren't you supposed to be the rightful heir, and Rhaenyra stole it
Yeah.
from you,
And they got
because
taken by a woman, you know, of all.
yeah, because then she can get him all power hungry.
Yes.
He can start to try to maybe go that, and then she's gonna get
And they
pregnant,
kind
and
of,
then walk around and be like, I've got his
yeah.
baby in me, and
Yeah.
he's the
And
heir to the
then,
throne.
and then it
Like
comes full
drama.
circle. And also
But
it comes
if
full
she's
circle to what
supposed,
Hang on, hang
Lena
on a
was
minute, hang on a minute.
doing, you know? It comes full circle to
Yeah,
what Lena was doing, pushing him for more, you know, to be more than
yeah,
he was. So I'm like, dang, is everybody putting that threat on him? Like, they're just
yeah,
feeding his ego to get him to
yeah,
do something.
yeah.
I'm like,
Because
Jesus.
What were we
you
gonna
He
say,
just
know,
gets
Matt?
I don't know.
manipulated by all the women in his life. I'm like,
Exactly.
oh my goodness.
I
What
was
were we
gonna
They
gonna say,
could
Matt?
do
say,
that.
I was gonna say if she's supposed to be the three-eyed raven, she's supposed to remain neutral. Like she may have her taunts and like, mess with him, but if she's like supposed to be like the three-eyed raven, she's not supposed to get involved with the politics or anything like that.
Well, girl's
May
involved. She's involved.
Heavily involved.
She is involved. She she got involved the second she was like, "You're gonna die in this place."
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
she could have kept all that to herself and just kept walking through. Maybe just give it a smile and a wave, and then just have a good night.
Mhm.
But no, she involved herself
Yes.
instantly.
The
So
maybe she's
the
bored.
moment that she
yeah,
started manipulating him, he was already
I don't.
exactly.
involved.
I don't
It,
think she's the three-eyed raven so much as she might just be a witch that's connected to the children, like
okay,
the
Mhm.
that
like all the earth children that created the White Walkers. I think that's where
Mhm.
what she's connected to. I don't think she's connected to the
oh,
three-eyed raven.
so she has like so she might have powers akin to a three-eyed raven, but she's not a
Mhm.
three-eyed raven herself.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I think she just has all those powers. Is what I think. Um, I don't think she's actually the raven. But I could
Well,
be wrong. That might be a twist. But I don't know. You know,
With the twist.
It just
well,
depends on what they want to do with this.
we'll
could
just have
change
to
it.
wait and
Yeah,
see. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
whole story, three-eyed raven thing, wasn't even mentioned in any of the Fire and Blood book. So they can just throw that in like they threw in the prophecy if they wanted to.
That's
Include.
true. That's very
Just
true.
So we have
to spice
no
it up
say
more.
in it. Yeah.
The three-eyed raven thing is like was kind of exclusive to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and I don't mind if they just keep that exclusive to it, but they've tied it in with this prophecy and the dagger. I like that tie-in, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, we don't have to go that deep into to tying it in that extreme, but they already changed like the parented origin of Daenerys's dragons, so I guess whatever.
Well, we'll
It's
just
not a
have to
bad
wait and
change,
see.
it's just a change.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, 4 more episodes left. House of the Dragon air Sundays on HBO Max and a couple other streaming services. So check it out. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you're on my YouTube channel. Comment below. Let us know what you think of the episode and what you think of our review for that episode. Let us know what you think might happen next or what we'd like to see happen next. Doesn't matter. We would like to engage. You can reach us on Discord at the Media Buff Guys. And you can also follow us and like our episode on Spotify. We're posting every Sunday now. Yeah. So, with that being said, everybody say bye.
Toodles.
Everyone's gonna die here.
Bye.
We're gonna
Oh,
die
and Cell,
here.
you're
You're
going to
gonna
die.
die.
What? Why? So many questions.
All right.